Thank you, Speaker. To begin, I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we stand on here tonight, the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung. I pay my deepest respects to their elders, past and present, and First Nations people here tonight, including Sheena Watt and Uncle Andrew Gardner. While the Broadmeadows electorate has been my lifelong home, it has been the home of the Wurundjeri for over 60,000 years. Bordered by the Merri Creek to the east and the Moonee Ponds Creek to the west, the electorate includes the suburbs of Campbellfield, Coolaroo, Dallas, Fawkner, Glenroy, Hadfield, Jacana and Oak Park. Respected Wurundjeri elder Uncle Andrew Gardner passed on to me that it is known as the Moonee Moonee Merri Merri area, after Wurundjeri Willan clansman and headman Moonee Moonee and the waterway which we love so much. And Minister D'Ambrosio's announcement of the huge new Marrinbubba Conservation Parklands, which will stretch from Campbellfield to Beveridge along the Merri Creek, Wurundjeri's Emma Mildenhall spoke of the ancient songlines that run through the electorate. I love the thought of our footsteps and our children's footsteps following these same ancient paths over our lifetimes. As the oldest continuing culture on earth, First Nations people are resilient and proud, and I'm so proud of Labor's commitment to voice, treaty, truth and justice at both the state and federal level. Our nation's truth needs to be told for healing and reconciliation to occur. I thank the first democratically elected body of Aboriginal Victorians, the First Peoples Assembly, for the incredible work they have done to progress this important work in Victoria. I grew up on the steep hillside of the Moonee Ponds Creek Valley. It was an idyllic childhood, even if during our games of street cricket, half our tennis balls ended up in the creek when we weren't quick enough. I'd enjoy exploring the creek with my brothers and the yearly bonfire nights. My husband Joe even proposed to me on the banks of the creek at the Jacana wetlands, and we scattered our stillborn son's Tom's ashes there over 16 years ago now. I remember walks along the Merri Creek in Fawkner with my aunties and several of my 42 first cousins. I loved being part of a big clan, and I'm so honoured to be part of this clan of 71, the fabulous Labor team in the Victorian Parliament. Yeah. I've had so much support from so many of you, and I thank my comrades here in this chamber and in the other place. Big families are not uncommon in the Broadmeadows electorate, ranking the highest in the state for women who have had 6 or more children. My dad was one of 9 wards who attended St Mark's Primary in Fawkner. His mother helped build the school and church by baking thousands of apple pies to sell at the Sunday cake stalls. My mum, Moira, was one of 10 O'Sheas, so there's no shortage of aunties, uncles and cousins, and no shortage of love and fun. And luckily, plenty of hands to help at election time. Late last year, we lost my mother-in-law, Nora, who was the toughest, humblest and kindest woman with a great sense of humour. Nora was raised on a dairy farm in Glenormiston and, like so many country kids, came to find work in Melbourne, where she met my father-in-law, Max. During the Second World War, Max served on 4 ships in the Navy and narrowly survived the sinking of the HMS Canberra in the Pacific. He lost a brother at El Alamein and another was taken prisoner of war. He carried the effects of this for the remainder of his life, as so many service people do. Max and Nora were dedicated and loving parents and raised 4 beautiful humans, Andrew, Liz, Maureen and Joe, and I'm so lucky to have them in my life. My grandfather died when my mum was 3, leaving my grandma a widow with 10 children in the days before when there was no social safety net. Grandma did an incredible job of raising her clan, and I thank the Labor legacy of social welfare so that families do not now suffer as they did. My parents, Moira and Gary Ward, met at work in 1964. Both had left school in their early teens, and Mum later went on to study nursing at the Heidelberg Repat, while Dad was conscripted to the army. Mum was well suited to aged care nursing with her compassionate nature and appetite for hard work, but always felt held back by a lack of formal education. So in her 40s, she enrolled in a VCE bridging course at Broadmeadows TAFE. Along with her friend Rose, who was living at the Banksia Gardens housing estate, they studied their way through that bridging course whilst raising their young families. They both graduated with social work degrees some years later and have helped so many since. Never underestimate the power of TAFE to transform lives. Yeah. Education is my #1 priority, and I thank Minister Hutchins and former Education Minister James Merlino for their support of local capital upgrades and the local education plan. We're also delivering a tech school and building 2 of the new affordable government-run childcare centres in Broadmeadows and have invested over $12 million to expand local kidneys. Dad started working at the union just after I was born. Through my childhood, I remember him travelling all over the state, working hard to represent members. He was out many evenings at Trades Hall, the Commission and the Tribunal, but we knew he was doing important work, standing up for others and fighting for a better deal for workers. The SDA have always been a big part of my life, and I thank them for their support, especially Michael, Morrow and Dean. We know from our brothers and sisters in the union movement that unity is strength, and I pay tribute to all those who have fought the good fight for workers' rights and conditions. Mum and Dad have worked hard all their life, always giving of themselves and advocating and caring for others. In the last 18 years, they've both shown incredible fortitude since Dad became paralysed in 2005. In the Catholic tradition, they instilled in me a strong sense of social justice and a sense of duty to contribute positively to society. We were raised to stand up when we saw something wrong and speak up for those who weren't being heard. The fabulous and dedicated teaching staff at local schools I attended, Corpus Christi, Sancta Sophia and Gagan College, which are now Penola, never hesitated to reinforce this message. It was on a poster outside the school library that I first read the words, "The pen is mightier than the sword," which sparked my letter writing activism as a teenager. And I recall being so inspired when Tom Uren spoke to our school on Hiroshima Day. With his incredible capacity for forgiveness and his amazing legacy of service, he ignited my interest in politics. I became a member of the Glenroy branch of the Labor Party when I was 18, and I recall fascinating discussions between members like Jim, Ilya, Mick, the Purcell brothers, and Wally the electrician, who always had cables hanging out of his pockets. While Labor values of social justice, solidarity and compassion for the vulnerable have always been a part of my life, here I found the platform that could make a difference to many. In 2000, our local member, Christine Campbell, asked me to work with her. She gave me a masterclass on the true power of advocacy and what can be achieved locally with strong representation. As the Premier once said, if he was a constituent, he would most want Christine to be representing him as an MP. Thank you, Christine, for your support and friendship. You inspired me to run for council, and I loved my 8 years in local government. With some fabulous colleagues, we worked collectively across party lines to get great results. We delivered new and upgraded parks, sporting facilities, neighbourhood houses, libraries and pools, and continued to provide quality aged care services and Meals on Wheels. And I've got two former council colleagues here, Jo Canellan and Alice Pryor and Emma Erdogan, who I like to acknowledge for their work. I'd like to thank Lizzie Blainthorne for her belief in me when she first asked me to work for her as her policy advisor, and for her constant support since. Locally, it's been such an honour to open the Glenroy Road level crossing with her, along with Minister Allen and Minister Carroll, and the amazing new community hub along with Minister Stitt. I also pay tribute to the work and dedication of the former Labor representatives of Broadmeadows that have come before me: Frank McGuire, John Brumby, Jim Kennan, Jack Colpin and John Wilton. I'm grateful for the support of Minister Carboines. I really enjoyed working as his advisor and learnt so much from him. I have a special place in my heart for Luke Donnellan, a good man and an empowering boss. As his advisor for ageing during the worst of COVID, we went through a lot together. I loved being part of the ministerial office team with so many fabulous people, including Drew, Jono, Kieran, Jana, Flora, Sandra, Molly, Tim, Jeremy, Angela, Paula and the Becks. I'm proud of what we were able to achieve together with significant investments in public aged care, improved training for palliative care, dementia and oral health, and the expansion of food relief during the pandemic, making sure those who had no support from the Morrison government, like the temporary protection visa holders and international students, could access state support. During COVID, we saw firsthand how dangerous insecure work is, particularly in aged care, and I'm very proud of this government's sick pay guarantee. The Broadmeadows electorate may not have beautiful beaches or trendy shops, but it has the most wonderful inhabitants in all the world. Unassuming, hard-working, generous and unpretentious. It's Josephina walking her shopping jeep down the shops and passing homegrown tomatoes and cucumbers over the fence. It's Jamuna, Riti, Joyti and Narajan looking after their mother as she passes on Dashan blessings to the younger generations. It's Bergen and Nilüfer collecting donations to send over to earthquake victims in Turkey and Syria. It's Yvonne, Beck, Roger, Tim and hundreds of others who volunteer their time so our kids can play sport. It's Nadia, Seemab and Safa catching up at the park every day and supporting other local mums. It's Mariella organising food relief for local families doing it tough. It's Mary and Lou helping to run free meals from St Mark's, and Vassie rehoming items and building community through the Hard Rubbish Rescue Group. It's Mullah and Mohammed supporting community members at the mosque on Friday, and it's Eric running his informal support group at the coffee shop in Dallas. I just love the people of the North. Living in Glenroy, I've been part of every wave of migration to Australia since the 70s, and have personally witnessed the richness each culture brings. I love that my kids go to school with kids from over 30 countries who speak more than a dozen different languages, including Arabic, Nepalese, Urdu, Turkish, Assyrian, and that they learnt some Sinhalese from our beautiful family daycarer, Sarika. It's such an honour to represent such a diverse, multicultural and multi-faith electorate. With 46 places of worship, faith is an important part of life for over 60% of our locals. And for the most part, everyone is respectful of each other's culture and beliefs. And the biggest tensions we have locally are over parking. The electorate of Broadmeadows showcases the best of diversity in Australia, and I intend to help keep it this way, through dialogue, respect and greater understanding. Local religious leaders play an important role in our communities, and nowhere was this more apparent than during COVID. They stepped up without hesitation to help keep communities informed and safe, and we can't thank them enough. Central to all the major religions is respect for others, encouragement of the universal human attributes of kindness, generosity and compassion, being part of a collective, something bigger than the individual, and giving many people a sense of purpose, community and belonging. And it is these similarities that we should all embrace, rather than the differences or the extremes, which feed on hate, polarisation and exclusion. The only antidote is inclusion, celebrating each human and their uniqueness. My utopia is a world where everyone, no matter their age, ability, culture, religion, sexuality or gender, feels valued, safe and heard, and feels a deep sense of belonging. I'm so proud to be part of a government where inclusion is at the very core of the values we all hold, and that is where my focus will be. Programs and places that build communities, giving people connection and purpose. The Broadmeadows electorate has the highest number of people living with disability, a high percentage of people who cannot speak English, and over 40,000 people who have not completed Year 12. We know that older people, people with a disability, and those with low literacy are too often left out of the workforce. Everybody deserves the opportunity for purpose in their life and the dignity of work, and we all need to do more to address this. Their voices should also be heard in our boardrooms, on our councils and in this place too. And it's not just skilling people up or making quotas, it's making all decision-making bodies, institutions and our public services more accessible. In this parliament we have people from a range of backgrounds, people who grew up in child protection, refugees, First Nations Victorias, family violence survivors, and we know that better decisions are made when different voices are heard. According to the Age Discrimination Commissioner, ageism remains the most accepted form of prejudice in Australia, and it matters. You might be surprised to hear that men over 85 have the highest rate of suicide in the country. Any person getting to the point of despair, isolation and hopelessness that concludes that suicide is the only answer is a tragedy. The Commissioner for Senior Victorians also found that over 40% of older people experienced loneliness. Loneliness is a growing problem for people of all ages, and there is much we can do. I will work to address transport disadvantage so that everyone can participate fully, especially those who don't drive a car, and will work with all levels of government to improve walking environments, expand community transport, and through the Northern Bus Review, work to ensure our bus network serves people better. The digital divide is also creating exclusion and isolation. On average, nearly half of people over 70 are not connected, and a quarter of people over 50 have limited digital literacy. It's worse for low-income and multicultural communities. 1 in 5 households don't access the internet in Broadmeadows. Programs that help people get online, like our recently announced library program for seniors, are fabulous. But we also need to make sure those who are not able to get online have alternative ways to access services and are not discriminated against. I'm proud of Labor's commitments to the recommendations in the Mental Health and Family Violence Royal Commissions and the initiatives rolling out across the state, including a new refuge in the north. And I just love our investments in the SEC, in kinders, in schools and in TAFE, like the $60 million Health and Community Service Centre of Excellence at Kangan Institute, which will upskill our next generation of healthcare workers who give so much of themselves to keep us well and safe. But it was this government's commitment to special schools that really made my Labor heart sing. Most parents can access after-school care and school holiday programs and can choose to work full-time with 4 weeks leave. But for families like Kate and Dean with their son Jake, and Nadia and Mark with their son Luca, who both attend Glenroy Specialist School, this choice hasn't been available. This policy is a life changer for them and for Jake and Luca, and I thank the carers across the state who helped advocate. There are so many people to thank, so many have been part of my journey, and I express my sincere gratitude and my apologies to anyone I forget. I'll start with my hardworking electorate officer team, Sam, Chris, Ennis, Sahar, Nathan and Suad, and so ably led by the very capable and hardworking Archit. Every day they are helping so many people in the electorate. I also thank the advisors and staff that support us all. We couldn't do this important work without the hard work, dedication and personal sacrifices you make to serving government for a better Victoria. My amazing and dedicated campaign team, led by my good and wise friend Alice Pryor, and the incredible contribution of the young Labor folk, particularly Disha, Arya, Love, Ashita, Mihul, Kevin, Karan, Tarzan, Aranag, Alan, Trisha, Kunal and Sima. My booth captains, pre-poll stalwarts and early morning helpers, Chris, Greg, Mick, Phil, Michael Moller, Praveen, Nirajan, Karen, Basim, Zahir, Ilya, Christine and Kevin, and the wonderful Hosseini family. And the unstoppable Hassan Gul, and the entire Gul family, Saman, Shaista, Shaz, Ashna, Inshara, Azel and Anaya, whose birthday is today. They helped in so many ways, fed us so often, taught me so much and covered half of Faulkner's fences with my face. To all the Labor members and volunteers who helped so much, including Kerry, Janet, Jenny, Anne, Sue, Helen, Peter, Paul, Habib and so many others, and to all those who have been part of my Labor journey over the last 30 years, including in branches and on policy committees. Thank you for keeping the light on the hill burning so brightly. To Enver and the Erdogan family for their support over many years. It's great to be working alongside you again, Minister. Thanks also to Minister Suleiman, Haki and Mem. To the team at head office, particularly Cam, Kareem, Michaela, Laura, Oscar and Nicola, who was there to help and advise at any time of day and night. To my friends, the Glenroy crew, and Joe, Liz and Veronica and the whole Leyden clan, particularly Glenn, who even with terminal cancer was by my side on election day, fighting the good fight. To my wide circle of family, I am the sum of you all. My wonderful sister Liz and brother Dan, Matt and Anna, Sarah and my nieces and nephews, cousins, aunties and uncles, and of course Mum and Dad for all that you are to me. And my beautiful Joe, who I could call my rock, but being an engineer, he'd probably appreciate being called a girder more, the main support beam in any structure, without which I would crumble. Thanks for always having petrol in the car, carrots in the fridge, sangers in the freezer, kids at sport, water on the plants, and a warm hug and cup of tea for me and anyone else who needs one. Loved by everyone who knows you, you are quite simply the best. And I'm so grateful for all you do for us and so many around you. And my two gorgeous girls, the centre of my universe, even though I'm sure it sometimes feels like you're not. I'm proud of the kind, strong, resilient, funny and brave young women that you are. And I thank you for your support, your love and your forgiveness when I'm home late, and for always keeping me humble. I love you both dearly. And lastly, the best people on the planet, the warm-hearted people of the Broadmeadows electorate. Thank you for the incredible honour of choosing me to be your representative. I will do all I can every day that I'm fortunate enough to be here to amplify your voices, to make your lives better, to ensure your troubles and your stories are heard, and I will make sure your voices are heard directly too. Whenever I can get you a seat at the table, I will do so. Thank you.